everyone. Welcome to Tuesdays with Trailblazers by Martech, the video podcast where we explore the latest trends and insights in marketing and technology. I'm your host, Neha, and today we will be talking about how internet resilience pushes the boundaries of your business. The internet was made public 30 years ago on April 30, 1993. And since then, it has been the core around which innumerable businesses have established their existence. Alongside this positive boom, the downside has been the security concerns and risk in this virtual world. Today, we are serving you Catchpoint, the Internet Resilience Company, the organization that gives you insights across your internet stack to enforce security, performance, and seamlessness. And to lead us through how Catchpoint accomplishes this feat, we have today Howard Beader, the VP Product Marketing of Catchpoint, leading the marketing strategies for the company. Hello, Howard. Welcome to Tuesdays with Trailblazer.
Hi, Neha. Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right. Let's kick off with your profound experience as a marketing leader with tech giants like PwC, Oracle, SAP ServiceNow, etc. Can you walk us through the valuable insights gained in these roles?
Sure, would love to. These companies really all taught me to think big and how to have really a big impact in the organizations. Now that I'm with a much smaller company, I need to do the same thing, but need to do it with speed, need to do it with less resources, need to do it with less headcount. And it's really been a lot of fun to get really much more specific. These companies taught me about new product introduction. They taught me about sales enablement. They taught me about storytelling and the importance of storytelling, about messaging development, and really collaboration across an organization. Because product marketing isn't an organization that can sit off by itself on the side. It's got to be at the center of everything. And so with that, it's how to successfully collaborate and work with all of these different teams. And also, of course, with the companies that I've been with, how to deal with interoffice politics, because that always plays in, as I'm sure you're aware. Product marketing really can be a challenging role because it's really slightly differently defined across companies. Sometimes it sits in marketing, sometimes it sits in product. But it's a great place to be if you want to be at the center of the action, if you want to stay close to the product, and especially if you're a great storyteller.
Storytelling. Of course, think big and storytelling. Thanks, Howard. That was truly enlightening. Your experiences bring a unique perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. So tell me more about how you break down the complex technologies into digestible formats and value prop for Catchpoint. I'm talking about not just explaining the product to the team, but actually getting folks excited and moving down that marketing funnel.
Yeah, of course. The key point here, and part of the key challenge in product marketing, is how do you take complex technologies and really simplify that into a story that's going to be relevant, not just for the engineers, but also for the executive team. And it's really about speaking to that bottom up as well as top down in terms of the story. One of the mantras that has always stuck with me is really about you get relegated to who you sound like in an organization. So if you come in speaking bits and bytes, and you start to try and do that, let's say with a CIO, he's going to say, you should be talking to my network engineer. You should be talking to my SRE. And you immediately lose that executive level presence. For me, I've always had the ability to consume a technology story and simplify it. Here at Catchpoint, when I walked in, we were speaking almost exclusively to engineers. I believe that in order for us to increase our footprint and share wallet in those customers, we needed to tell a higher level story. And that higher level story needs to be about the business impact of the technologies, of the capabilities. Um, and you really need to speak in the customer's language.
That's
So
true.
it's about the problems they're having, not the technology I'm trying to sell. So how do you translate that into something that's going to be relevant for them? So what we ended up doing, and if I'm jumping ahead, please stop me. But what we ended up doing is we created this concept of the internet stack.
Okay.
It's really the area that Catchpoint focuses on, but it comprises really all the technologies, all the protocols, all the network components, all the cloud services, all the way to the applications. And these are the things that an organization really needs to be able to keep an eye on. They need to monitor it to ensure that their sites are reachable, their sites are performant, their sites are reliable.
Mhm.
Um, and in order to do that, they've got to constantly be monitoring what's happening there. Because if they don't, um, the internet doesn't work. I mean, can you imagine if we were having challenges now, you and I wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be
Mhm.
able to have this conversation.
Correct.
And you think about how important Zoom or Teams are to organizations today. What happens if they're not working? So uh, this becomes really the core of when we're talking about internet resilience.
Mhm.
This really is the result. Because when you think about somebody like Amazon, just as an example, what happens if their site isn't reachable for an hour?
Oh.
They lose millions and millions of dollars.
Mhm.
Um, we all rely on the internet today, and that's why organizations are relying on Catchpoint.
Mhm. So, if I may, ask you another question regarding the product opportunity, how do you create an opportunity for the marketers in general? Like, for example, optimizing digital experience for marketers.
So, when you start thinking about some of the challenges and who's actually reaching the internet, if you are, let's say, shopping for a pair of shoes today,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit your favorite website that you typically go to, and that website doesn't work, what are you going to do? You're going to wait for that website to work before you place the order? You're
No.
going to go somewhere else, right?
Correct.
And what we're finding is, and some of the stats, 62% of Gen Z users will not use an app or a website that's too slow to load.
Mm-hmm.
61% of consumers are still experiencing unreliable apps or websites at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, from a marketing standpoint, in order for us to be successful as marketers, everything needs to work and it needs to work well. Otherwise, that poor digital experience is a reflection on that company's reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be, IT needs to be involved to ensure that they're able to deliver the digital experience that the organization wants to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the challenge today is companies, the largest companies out there, think Amazon, Walmart, Apple, Alibaba, Google, right? All of these organizations are really setting the expectations for everyone else. They've got, the teams, the IT operations, and the investment to really ensure their experiences are great. Well, what happens if you're a smaller retail company? From a consumer standpoint, we expect that that smaller company is going to operate just like the larger
Bigger.
ones.
Absolutely. Correct.
And it's a huge challenge for marketers today. We need to ensure those experiences are phenomenal. And it's not just the website, it's the website all the way back. If your support teams internally cannot reach the apps they need, that's a challenge. If your internal operations teams and sales teams can't chat or can't do Zoom calls or Teams calls because of internet challenges, it's going to affect the customer experience in the end. And so monitoring the internet becomes hugely critical.
Correct. Correct. And also that is, that actually affects the bottom line at the end of the day. So,
sure.
of course, it's so important. So now let's a little bit explore your product marketing side a little bit. How do you adapt your product-led marketing strategies to specific features of each product and the demographic characteristics of your audience? How do you do that?
Yep. In the end, as I said earlier, customers buy solutions to their problems, right? They're not necessarily looking for your distinct characteristics of a specific product. They've got a problem, and ultimately, as a product marketer, we need to align our capabilities back to the solution we're going to provide to solve their problem. And this comes back to ensuring as a product marketer that you're building out the foundation necessary to be able to solve those problems. And that's identifying really the right ICP or ideal customer profile that you're looking to target, ensuring that you've got great fit there. Which personas are you speaking to? And how are you going to actually tell the story to those personas? And then, of course, the relevancy of what we do as an organization to them, and then being able to support that with references and customer success stories that are relevant to them. If they're let's say, a consumer products company, sharing a reference of what you did with a financial institution may be somewhat relevant, but they'd rather hear what their peers are doing. And because that's going to influence them even more. So all of that needs to be part of that go-to-market kit that ultimately we're enabling our sales teams with.
So, of course, the persona and ICP understanding is very important when you start selling the product. And it also affects, your future prospects and how you're going to be performing in coming years. So coming back to how do you measure the success of your product marketing strategies and processes with objectives and key results, OKRs per se?
Yep. It's a great question. And it's always a huge topic in marketing, right? Especially product marketing. Because what do you measure? Are you going to measure how well somebody presents in a webcast? Are you going to measure pieces of sales materials that get produced and the rating on those materials? Ultimately, what I believe in is that you need to measure against revenue. And because what that does is it also automatically aligns marketing with sales. We both have the same objective. We're both aligned from the beginning. And then there you can actually start looking at leading indicators towards that. And, it's pipeline, it's win rates, it's analyst reports, it's positive press, it's customer reviews. And you can look at the individual MBOs from there, but revenue really is the ultimate aligner.
Correct. So if somebody is starting his journey in product marketing, new marketer, what kind of lessons, you would like to give them? What would you like to tell them?
So if you're going to join product marketing, really need to be able to juggle, being able to manage multiple activities, multiple threads.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think back to some of our earliest mobile devices. Those early mobile devices were all single threaded. They could do one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the latest iPhone, you can have 500 web pages open. You can be doing messaging and other apps. That's product marketing. And you've got to you've got to be comfortable doing all of that. You've also, really need to be able to tell a story and be comfortable telling those stories. Because in the end, it's the stories that everybody's going to remember. And, I've seen some great product marketers that I've recruited directly out of universities like Northeastern's co-op program.
Mm-hmm.
And you can very quickly identify those that are really going to be amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
And
worked
what
out.
contributes to that storytelling? You are a child, and what actually happens when you are a child and you get to start telling a story? What is that particular thing which you get to know when you're meeting somebody?
So, I think growing up as a child, or even working with some of the college students that I've worked with over the years, when you sit down with someone and the conversation just immediately flows, and it's not just repeating what they've seen on your website. It's I had this amazing woman that I met, um, and I interviewed, no exaggeration, probably 50 students. And then this one woman walks in the room, and she sits down and starts telling a story about being on safari
Mm-hmm.
and how the elephants were her favorite, and translating that back into really what she could do for the organization. And it was 10 levels, maybe 20 levels above where everyone else was in that interview, and hired her on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And she came in and just really was amazing from the beginning. And she's gone from product marketing into sales as a result of being able to actually carry on those stories and those conversations and just
Mm-hmm.
engage with people.
Mm-hmm. So we got that, our takeaway is safari to sales. One
Exactly.
last one last question on a personal note. What are you reading these days? Because, I've seen leaders are always readers. Are you reading any book you would like to recommend us and our viewers here?
Um, the last one I just read, and it's back there somewhere, is Lencioni's book on the different levels of trust in an
Mm-hmm.
organization. Can't think of the name right now, but great story, and it really helps you understand how when you start building an organization and building a team, that everything's based on that level of trust in the beginning. And you've got to build that trust in order to actually build beyond and have an organization really working well together. And that's something that, I believe in fully, and it's something that we've focused on here and have built my team around.
Oh, lovely. All right, Howard, I had a great time speaking with you and hosting you on
Sure.
Tuesdays with Trailblazers. It was an honor. And thank you so much for taking the time to share your phenomenal journey and an eye-opening session with us today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the time today.
And thank you all for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. And do check out catchpoint.com if you want to put a stop to all your internet issues. Until next time, stay tuned with Martech for more insights into all things marketing and technology. Till we meet again, signing off, your host, Neha.